I personally don't. I think, the studio may feel that way a little bit because they're business people, and I get that. Well, they have a movie with a ton of superheroes. Where's our movie with a ton of superheroes? They have Iron Man. Where's our guy in the middle suit? Whatever. They don't. They actually.
This is your old boy, Ray Fisher.
And Ezra Miller.
Reporting live from the set of the Justice League.
And we want to say that our hearts are with the native youth of the Standing Rock Reservation, and that we oppose the Dakota Access Pipeline.
Did you commit any kind of prank?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Which would happen almost immediately once you put her down on the floor. And sometimes it happened in bed, too.
Zachary Levi is criticizing Hollywood for making too much, quote, garbage.
We haven't said that to me, but I can imagine though those conversations. I mean, that's not outrageous. I don't think that. I would not blame them for that because I'd probably be saying the same thing if I were in their position. But I don't feel like I'm in competition with the Marvel movies only because I think the way, and Chris and I talked about it a lot, and I think Warner Brothers really needs to, stay with what we do. I think Warner Brothers really needs to, stay with what we do. Stay with what we do.
Yeah, so as we all know, the DCEU is over. Done. A franchise that unfortunately was obliterated by its own mediocrity, terrible brand management that comes only second to Disney Star Wars, and a vision so poorly executed to a point where their own studios decided to eat shit themselves and ban the idea to the Shadow Realm. It happens. I guess. But you know what else is dead? Hollywood and January. What a disgusting month. Snow sucks after you're like 10 years old, and I'll happily and proudly stand on business when it comes to that opinion. And seeing how I'm not Chris Stuckman or Jeremy Johns, those YouTube goats who have been around since the yesteryears, I haven't even reviewed 25% of the DCEU entire catalog, which in hindsight definitely seems like a good thing seeing how I missed out on a lot of shitters. But like Thanos, a tier list video covering the entirety of the DCEU was inevitable. And because I'm simply so dedicated to the craft and integrity of this channel, pretty much making me a hero, I sat down and made the New Year's resolution to not get up no matter how melted my brain might become, or the aneurysms that could be induced, and watch each movie at least one time in this 16 movie legacy? Yeah, I wasn't even gonna try to finish that joke. To give the parameters really quick, this list is mostly based on DCEU movies that I would rewatch the most, and basically my own personal enjoyability. I like to imagine if I was stranded on some island with somebody who has never seen a single DCEU film, and the island somehow had cell service so we were just buying our time, what order would I show them in? It's a good way to go about things, especially when damn near 10 out of the 16 movies are actually garbage tier. My point is, no list is the right list. This is all just personal, just like my relationship with your mom. So with that, oh, this is also going from worst to best, by the way, so anyway, let's get into it. Yeah, I feel like I don't really have to explain why Justice League is the worst movie of the DCEU. With another Justice League to watch, there's kinda no reason why you would even watch this Frankenstein's monster of an idea. There's honestly not really any redeeming qualities either. Even by the time Superman shows up to just kick some ass, you're so mentally checked out that it's honestly more disrespectful to the audience at that point. The mustache on Henry Cavill pretty much sums it up. Yeah, it's pretty crazy because honestly, I did not expect The Flash to end up so low on the tier list. I think if I was a boomer and I grew up with the Michael Keaton Batman, there could have maybe been some salvation for this movie, but I didn't. Unlucky. And combined with what was quite possibly the worst CGI in the franchise and probably just Hollywood blockbusters in general. Oh, and Ezra Miller being a walking piece of human feces. Again, another entry with no redeeming qualities. The MCU isn't even this bad at its lowest of points. Okay, so this is gonna sound bad. Well, not really actually. I just don't think Zachary Levi is really good at what he does. Don't get me wrong, there's not that much of a sample size, but I also believe there's an underlying reason for that. He's an extremely unlikable and annoying bloke. And don't get me wrong, the character of Shazam doesn't really do him any justice, but I found myself at the time actually enjoying the movie, but then I realized it was just all of the scenes that Zachary Levi wasn't in, and with his antics off the field when it came to the box office returns of his movie, as well as some sly remarks made about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's Black Adam, I can't imagine that his career is going to be heating up anytime soon. Unlucky. Yeah, I can pretty much just relay the majority of the same reasons as previously mentioned for Shazam 2, but at least the first Shazam actually attempted to pretend to be a credible movie, so bonus points for effort. Okay, so interestingly enough, besides the movies that I was watching for the first time, and trust me, we had quite a few of those, Birds of Prey was the movie that I remembered the least of a movie that I have seen before. Which is unfortunate because on a rewatch, you realize the cast was pretty stacked with Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Ewan McGregor, and Margot Robbie, who I don't really have to explain right now is pretty much on top of the world in regards to box office and becoming a household name. What can I say? It's the theme for the DCEU at this point in the tier list. It's just unfocused, and there's no way you can ask an audience to invest in your vision if that's not even showcased on screen from the people that have that vision, even if that vision is Margot Robbie. What a queen. Okay, so I actually did feel like I remembered the majority of this movie, and upon rewatch, I definitely did. I think this was actually the first time I genuinely felt bad because Warner Brothers and the DCEU did have a vision here. They did have a plan. They did have some groundwork. Kind of. But you can tell that the studio interference really did a number on this one, because what you end up with is pretty much two separate movies in one, which, if executed right, sounds pretty fantastic. But you know damn well that was not the case here. It's unlucky, Martha. We really had something cooking in the oven here. Yo, shout out to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, because as much slander as I throw that giant thumb, you get what you get when it comes to that man's craft. Nothing more, nothing less. When you imagine what it would be like if Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson got the powers of Superman, but was evil, well, as much as a PG-13 rating would have him be evil, yeah, that's Black Adam. Okay, so probably my first hot take of the video, but now that I'm actually seeing this is only number 9 out of 16, it seems pretty on track. But now we're getting to the point of the DCEU's delectable trash, or more commonly known as movies that are so bad that they're good. Not good in the sense of actual cinema making terms. Here, I'll let Jeremy explain it to you.
Bring the friends, bring the alcohol, fun time if you're drunk.
Yeah, now it's a party.
There we go. Pedro Pascal is charismatic. I didn't hate the cheetah as much as others. Gal Gadot still can't emote for shit, but it's okay, Pedro had enough for the both of them, so... Wait, I forgot about that whole taking somebody else's body aspect of the movie. Never mind, I forgot Wonder Woman is a criminal and needs to be locked up. Okay, now this is my first actual hot take of the video. I'm telling you, the first Suicide Squad is exactly the type of movie that is so bad that it's good. Will Smith, Margot Robbie, Viola Davis, I mean, no matter how terrible the script is, no matter how butchered the movie might have turned out post-production, these are actors of actual craft, grace, and integrity. The movie is so unbelievably unserious but serious at the same time that you can't help but laugh at and with the movie. Jared Leto's Joker is the perfect example of what I'm trying to express. So unseriously serious that the movie actually ends up being half funny. Oh man, I really had high hopes for this one. Going back down memory lane, the times before we knew that Gal Gadot was just a walking piece of tree bark, the Wonder Woman hype was crazy. You would think that it was truly a never before seen event. And at the time, I guess it kinda was. In a time now where the female-led blockbuster has become the norm around these parts, the DCEU's Wonder Woman was a true pioneer in that movement, paired with the incredible box office success and a movie that was actually pretty good if it wasn't for the CGI monster fight at the end, which could always just be chalked up to studio interference. I still believe a congratulations is in order for the DCEU. We're 10 movies in, and we finally gotten a movie that actually resembles a movie. Awesome. Easily one of the most forgettable movies in the entirety of the DCEU, Aquaman 2 was actually pretty fun. A movie that didn't try to break the wheel, make new strides, or even attempt to do anything new. Sometimes, less is more. Or maybe it's the other way around. Point is, as mentioned in my review a couple weeks ago, Aquaman 2 is the pure definition of a date quota movie. A movie that you watch with your significant other that will leave no lasting impact on your life or memory 5 minutes after you left the theater. But when you see that smile on your girl's face, you know it was all worth it. Okay, so obviously the better Justice League of the two available, as much as an absolute fraud and con artist Zack Snyder is when it comes to robbing studios blind of their money and audiences dulled of their senses and will to live, unless you're in the cult, I guess. But when it comes to Zack Snyder's Justice League, I can't believe I'm about to say this, the movie actually left me wanting more, which is crazy to say when you're talking about a movie that is the length of 2 movies. But certain storylines that fraud was able to cook up was actually pretty interesting. Mostly Darkseid, obviously, but with real character development also being thrown to Cyclops' character and a new buff Steppenwolf. I don't think it's that hard of a reach when I say that if this version of the Justice League was released, it could have maybe salvaged the now dead DCEU. Damn. What could have been. Okay, so in the very divisive Hollywood climate that we live in now in regards to our online culture, I truly and genuinely believe that Blue Beetle was just an unfortunate victim of its circumstances. Let's go through the checklist. Releasing in a time when Hollywood was in its longest and most intense strike that involved the writers and the actors? Check. Releasing in a franchise that was already confirmed to be rebooted with no confirmation of this character if he will be surviving the James Gunn chopping block? Check. Releasing in a time of pandering, therefore not having a fair shake with a percentage of the audience that could have been interested in this said character, say, 4 or 5 years ago? Check. Blue Beetle was just highly overhated. It was a fun and safe origin story with likable characters, not half bad CGI, and a relatable protagonist. In what world is this a bad movie? It's not. Blue Beetle was just unfortunately a victim of its environment, and in my opinion, I would love James Gunn to continue his story for the future of the DCU. Yo man, this is crazy. So upon a rewatch, I definitely now understand how this movie was able to rake in the big B. Much like Blue Beetle, Aquaman was 100% a product of its environment. Jason Momoa was at the height of his career, and while there were surely some stinkers that were already released by Warner Brothers and the DCEU at this point, Aquaman was an extremely refreshing change in tone and vision, and was honestly the first film in the DCEU that you could actually categorize as a fun watch. Also, having Patrick Bateman and Willem Dafoe will always contribute to the cause of elevating your movie above the status it probably should be at. I didn't realize then, but shout out Aquaman 2 for pretty much copying its own formula by being a date quota quality movie that's actually pretty fun to watch. Okay, so I was pretty excited to talk about this one because it's pretty crazy. I see a lot of people that don't have a lot of faith in the James Gunn vision, which doesn't really make sense to me because even leaving out his MCU work, this was his first crack at the DCEU and its characters with its rebooted Suicide Squad, and it was pretty incredible. Yes, you also heard that right. I have never seen a movie in my life that was rebooted less than a decade after the original. I'll look in the comments just in case you guys have any answers, but I'm sure that you have started to notice the theme here when it comes to these top movies in the DCEU. They're extremely fun and digestible. The Suicide Squad managed to pull off all of the aspects that go into making a good movie. Great action sequences, relatable and naturally developed characters, fun dialogue with entertaining character dynamics and relationships, CGI that isn't so bad that you notice that it was just filmed in a box. I don't know what to tell you. You can't really convince me not to believe in the James Gunn vision because he hasn't really given me any reason not to believe. And to put it frankly, you just have to tip your hat to the man for acing his interview for a job that he currently resides in. Yeah, it wouldn't really be my channel if I didn't end this video off on an accidental but genuine hot take. I stand on business when it comes to Man of Steel. Maybe it's because I'm young enough to the point where I've only seen one live action portrayal of the character of Superman, which is pretty crazy. But Henry Cavill was that guy for me at the time, and even now. To see the strength of this dude live action was epic as fuck. And it was a perfect display to me of what the power scaling of Superman's strength would actually look like. Oh, and the score. Mwah. Chef's kiss. I still listen to the Man of Steel theme to this very day. I know the most of you guys do, and even when it shows up on your X or your TikTok, there is no way you're swiping away. A character in a sequel that was truly robbed from us, the audience. And even before the Snyder Cut version of the Justice League, I truly and genuinely believe that if Warner Brothers had just had a semblance of balls to them and kept with the vision of Henry Cavill's Superman, well, I wouldn't be making this tier list full of trash tier movies today. But that doesn't really matter now, does it? The DCEU is dead, baby. Of course, as always, I want to thank you guys for watching the video, and if you enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Make sure to leave your rankings of the DCEU in the comments below. I'm actually interested to see where I differ compared to all of you guys, which is probably everywhere. I can feel the slander now. I should probably say follow me on Twitter. I started a whole new account for this channel, so I'm going to start promoting that more. Again, I want to thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you did enjoy, why not click on more while you're at it? Otherwise, that's all the words I got for you today. Bye.